Hey guys, and welcome to our review of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. I'm your host, the Cinder Blaze, and with me today we have...
Makotoa.
Alright, welcome back. Let's jump right into episode 47, which... It feels like... I think it was like the finale for this arc. I didn't watch the preview for the next episode, because I felt like it would have spoiled me too much, but... by the end of this episode, it was basically wrapped up with this
Yeah, I
arc.
watched the preview for the next episode, and it really is like something else. It's not related at all.
Yeah. Just right off the bat, were you satisfied with this ending?
I suspect I was satisfied a lot more than you were.
Alright.
But,
Well, I think you don't understand how I feel about this episode. So,
yes, please tell us.
for the first half, I kind of got bored. So then I wanted to go eat a snack mid-episode. Kind of just stopped everything and just came back to it a little bit later. And honestly, this was a really cookie-cutter episode of Shippuden filler.
Yeah.
It didn't really...
I know what you mean.
I'm not even saying Naruto filler, because Naruto filler at least got places with the characters. Even previous ones with oh shoot, I'm forgetting the filler episodes in this series as well. But the one with the village by the gate. This was probably a little bit worse than that in my opinion.
Ooh.
Just because it was kind of handled in its own way. This one kind of felt like it was handled in a really stereotypical way, and the way he what was his name, Yogi, kind of handled the whole genjutsu thing. It was just kind of he didn't really have to think about it. Shikadai and Boruto basically solved the problem for him. He just
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I was mind controlled, and I was you can't just build up for that long and have it just be the stupidest conclusion. And the reason I hated this episode so much by the end of it, that's kind of why I messaged you that on Skype, was when Naruto came at the end and kind of saved the day. I got so giddy and excited, and I'm just why am I feeling this way in one of the worst episodes of this series? So
Okay, well, let's see. For me, and I see where you're coming from, especially because looking back, you're right. He didn't. It wasn't his struggle as much. I mean, he was fighting the genjutsu to some degree, but in the end, it really was Shikadai and Boruto that just pretty much knocked it out of him, literally, and
yeah,
that kind of messes up the struggle a little bit. But at the same time, I will say the genjutsu wasn't everything, because the genjutsu was not something that I think was influencing him as much when he was hanging out with Shikadai. I think that was genuine.
I don't think it was active the entire time. I think
Yeah.
it's revealed in the episode that the whole tragic backstory was all the genjutsu. All the way back then, it was the genjutsu that kind of made him think that the dude with the weird hair was someone else.
And there was never actually a reason given for why he killed his parents, by the way. I mean, I guess it's an assumption that they were gonna stop him from making money or something, but
yeah,
that was never really explained at all.
Yeah.
You'd think that would have at least come up, or he would have been able to confront his leader or something. And then even in the midst of him fighting against the genjutsu, he was I'm just a pawn. And I think that was his... I mean, he was still warped because of his worldview, that he still believed this guy saved him. But then even beyond that, when Shikadai was he's just going to drop you, as soon as he's done using you. And the guy's well, what am I supposed to do? I still owe him my life, or something like that. And I don't know. This guy saves your life just so that he can use you, and you're disposable now. Is that really okay with you? Apparently for him it was.
I couldn't tell where the genjutsu kind of started
right?
with this guy, because
or where it ended.
the turkey head or the chicken head dude was using the hand signs from pretty early on, in the episode. Like he kind of like alluded that he was using the genjutsu, and like when Ryogi was kind of like holding his face, you can see like the mark already appearing. So the genjutsu is probably active in some sort of capacity at that point. So we can't tell like what he's actually thinking and what he's actually dealing with inside of his mind. Like half of it's genjutsu, half of it's actually what's happening in that conversation with Shigadai. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait,
how much of that was his actual logic going forth? Because in the past he was like, you know, this and that pawns and this and that kings, and it's like, so did you still have that logic? It seemed like it was coming through a little bit, but at the same time, it's like if you were, you got broken out of the genjutsu completely, and now you realize that he's the one who killed your parents. I just don't understand why when Shikadai was reasoning with him before that he was like, this guy is going to use you and dispose of you when he's done using you, that he wasn't like turned off by that.
I don't think it really mattered to him at that point, because like he still believed like he still owes this dude his life. So like even if he does die and get, you know, like, you know, if he's like willing to risk his life for that person, it doesn't really matter if he's just gonna use them and throw them away, you know. So like that part, like I understand, it's pretty typical in Naruto Shippuden fashion. So like I was like, all right, this is like a total Haku thing right now.
One thing, which that was cool. I was almost expecting it to happen when they were looking at the mirrors. He's like, this is no ordinary jutsu, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he gonna pop out of the mirror and start like throwing kunai? But no, it didn't happen. It was just like a genjutsu infused mirror type thing. But I mean, besides that, I wanted to say there is one part of it that did make it seem like it's not necessarily a Shippuden filler, and that's because he's still alive. The guy, I can't remember his name, ice style user, he's still alive, and he's in prison in Konoha.
Oh, he's basically dead.
Okay, here's the thing. In any kind of actual filler, the characters would have never been seen again. You would never have a chance of seeing them again.
You'd probably see him in like a prison or something, you know.
They're gonna write them out, but I don't know. This character, he's still around, and he's a young kid, and he could easily get written into the show later, like purple-haired class rep.
He could.
That's the thing. That's why it feels like there's a little bit more potential to this than just Shippuden filler.
Yeah, like they could go places with his character, but I really don't like care all too much about him, especially with like the way, like the struggle that he had to deal with. Like he had a lot like going for him, like emotionally speaking, especially since like the person he just trusted was the one who actually killed his family, yada yada. But like, you know, comparatively in Boruto, like that's actually pretty harsh. So like having someone actually deal with that, and like having the kids actually like, you know, be confronted with someone with like such a, you know, tough backstory.
The only problem is he wouldn't be able to easily incorporate into one of the teams unless somebody else died. So sorry, Denki, but I'm kidding.
He's not gonna be anywhere near as relevant as those characters.
As much as I want to have a cool character from Konoha, Genin or whatever, that has freaking ice style, like they're not gonna do it. You're right, probably.
Yeah, and his ice style techniques, honestly, they bored me. They were just kind of like, I'm gonna shoot ice, and that's about it. And there's an ice ball, and everything's cold.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that filler from Shippuden, early Shippuden though, the one with the like crystal style chick.
Yeah, Guren. I still remember her name. Don't know why.
Why? Yeah.
Yeah. What about it?
I actually enjoyed that filler for some reason.
Well, that was a significant like arc, honestly.
Yeah.
But this one, it was just, it's a mini arc. I can't like, those are not equals in any regard.
I'm just glad that Shikadai got something out of it.
Yeah.
He's a better character from it. That's the very least we can get.
Yeah, they honestly kind of like used that dude's trauma, or Yogi's trauma, just to develop Shikadai in a way. And like that conversation he was having, like during like their final kind of bout, when he was just kind of just shooting chakra, ice chakra in just every direction, just for no reason whatsoever. And Boruto did his like signature move where he shoots people with wind.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's kind of boring at this point. Sorry, Boruto. But he was talking about I think it was a little bit before that, but he's talking about like all the games like what about all the shogi we're playing? Was that like not real or something like that? I immediately got flashbacks of like the Hidden Mist arc. I was like, please don't tell me this is how they resolve every single conflict. They just play like some random game and just like, dude, we played checkers together, and he's like, oh, Uno. I know, but that's not relevant, and they don't really
Uno together. Isn't this memory mean anything to you? Doesn't this childish game mean anything to you in your traumatic life?
Oh man,
this is great.
That was
I didn't even notice that. You're right.
I don't
Next
like the way
one's going to be a video game watch. Next one's going to be the handheld game. Boruto's going to be like, don't you remember we played video games together?
We traded Pokemon.
Yeah. Wait, did he already do that with Denki? I don't know.
Probably.
Who knows?
But I feel like there was something else to this episode, but I think we can probably just like skip to the end. At least for you, because you didn't give your thoughts about Naruto coming in his Biju mode, just saving the day.
To, like, even think about? It just happened, and it was over. And I think Boruto said it best, where he's like, "Well, I guess that's it."
Yeah, and but like one thing I did like that he said was, when they were talking about like if Naruto wasn't there, they would have failed that mission. He would have gotten away.
That is
and he's
true.
just like, dang. Missions are actually pretty hard. And I was like, like the second he said that kind of like, the thing that kind of like put him in his place just for that moment, I was like, all right, that made him a little bit more likable. Like I already like Boruto, but like that kind of like showed a little bit of development, which is, it's still something, but it's filler development, so it can just go away whenever needed.
Okay, one more question. Did you feel tension this episode? Because
no.
I will say I felt it a little bit. I felt it a little bit.
What part exactly?
I think it was the part where Boruto is forced to close his eyes because of the genjutsu, and then all he gets is a kick to the ribs. I was kind of expecting a little more, and I guess that's not really tension, that's kind of just shock factor, but
yeah, he's kind of protected. Oh, that reminds me, when they were like kind of trapped in that ice thing and Boruto was the only one affected by genjutsu, like during that fight I was like, why isn't Shikadai affected by this genjutsu? And he's like, oh yeah, Mirai used to mess with me all the time, so I'm really good at I'm really practiced against genjutsu. And I'm just like, duh, that makes perfect sense.
Wait, Mirai?
Kurenai's daughter.
Oh.
Since Shakamaru was really close with Kurenai and Asuma, and like
right.
by default their daughter, it makes perfect sense for like the daughter to kind of be acquainted with Shikadai. So
yeah.
I was like, thank you. Like
that's amazing.
Like that made me so happy. Like mid episode, it was like a brief moment of happiness. It was surrounded by all like the crappy plot, but like that. Like the fact that they realized that was like
I remember being in that part of the episode and he said that name and I'm like, who is he talking about? Because I didn't remember that was her name. Shoot, that makes a lot more sense.
Come on, don't you remember that whole arc in Shippuden where they're talking about like who the king is, and like Asuma's like, the king is the future, all the children of Konoha. So then like the daughter's name was Mirai, which is like future.
Oh.
Boom, next level.
Oh geez, they're actually talking about the king in the next generation too. Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be going like the Hokage and Daimyo route, but no, they're not relevant yet. So
not yet.
But the Hokage definitely was. Seeing Naruto just like zoom past them, I was like,
that was funny. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for this week's episode. Mm-hmm. Do you have any final thoughts?
Not really. No.
All right. Well, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and check our description for all of our social media links and our Discord chat, which it definitely has a lot more activity on it than last week. So yeah, that's the thing. All right. Sorry, I had to, guys. See you next week.
Later.